All right, guys, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Monday. Woo! It's time to get this week started. Come on in, guys. Grab your coffee, grab your Bibles, and let's get our morning kick started. It's so good to be with you this morning. Man, we got another gorgeous day here in the heart of the Arkansas Delta. What you guys doing this Monday morning, huh? What are you doing to get your week started today? Tell me all about what you're doing. Tell me all of the goodies, all the things. Guys, come on in. Say hello when you get logged in. And also, please go ahead and hit that share button. We want to go ahead and get this thing put out there to all of your friends, all of your family. Put it all out in your hood. Go ahead and do that. Guys, good to see you this morning. Good to get this day started. You get this week kicked off. Had a fabulous weekend here in the Delta. Just a beautiful day. A little pop-up showers every now and then, but you know, all in all, it was just a really, really good weekend. I hope you guys had a good weekend as well. So say hello. Let me know who's here, and I'm trying to get it shared as well. I want you to do the same thing. So go ahead, do the deed. Go ahead and get it shared, and let's get this bad boy out there. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are ready for a good week. Church camp has started at the Tri-County Associational Campgrounds this morning. It kicked off, matter of fact, just now. They've just now opened up registration, and so we have got children from all around the association piling in right now to Ridgewood, or to the Tri-County camp. And so we want to make sure that we are praying for our camp staff, praying for our leaders, praying for the counselors, and just lifting them up, praying for the kids, praying that God will just do a tremendous work at the campground. And that is just, it's just outside Wynne is the Tri-County Associational Campground. So we want to remember them. Brother Kirk Martin is the one that's kind of pulling the trigger on that one. So we want to remember Brother Kirk and all of his crew. Guys, I'm almost done sharing. Have you shared it yet? Go ahead and hit that share button. S-H-U-R-R-R-R-R. That share button. Go ahead and get her done. All right, I think I'm about here. I think I'm about in. I think that's right. Let me see here. Yes, I am here. All right, guys. I'm almost in so I can see who all is hanging out with the pastor this morning. Got my coffee. I'm talking, my coffee is rocking and rolling this day. It is some kind of good. It is good. Let me see here. There's Miss Denise. She is here. Who else is here? Brian Ponder. Let's see, there is Miss Sandy. Good to see you all. Who all is here? Come on, guys, hit me out here. Tell me who all is here. Who all is here? There's Mary Weddington. I see Mary sneaking in this morning. How's everybody doing? Everybody have a good weekend? Tell me about your weekend. Tell me what you done. Did y'all have good church yesterday? I thought we had tremendous church yesterday on campus. Just a great service. I was just excited to be there, be a part of that. The Brian Ponder, good morning, Brian. See you coming on in there. Who all's here? There we go. Come on in, guys. Say hello. Let me know who's here. Let me know who all is yakking with me and who all's drinking coffee with me. Guys, we are kicking off a brand new book. Second Samuel. What? Debbie Tacker, good morning. Trying to get caught up on chores. Oh, Lord, no. Put them things down. Put them things down, Debbie. Ain't nobody got no time for chores on a Monday morning, right? There's the Allens. Good morning, Tommy Arlene. Mary, great day. It really was. It was a good day. It's just a good day all the way around. Attendance was good. Just the spirit was sweet. You know, we had a new couple and a brand new baby in church yesterday, so that was so exciting. Brand new, almost 4-month-old baby. A dog just took off after a squirrel, and I saw, you have to forgive me, it was kind of fun to watch. So the dogs in my neighborhood just love squirrels, and I mean, they chase them all over the place. And so I just saw a brown blur go, whoosh, so I thought it caught my attention. Yes, guys, we had a great service yesterday. I had finished a message series last week. And what I normally like to do is to take a couple of weeks in between series and just do some things differently. It's almost like you're cleansing your spiritual palate just to kind of get you ready for that next series. And so yesterday, what I done was a brief introduction. I call it a bite of cheesecake, just as a teaser. It was a brief introduction to the book of Romans. And then I broke down verses 16 and 17, which is the bedrock of that entire book. And so if you happen not to get it, make sure you go back. It is right here on this page. You can scroll down. You can watch our services yesterday, or you can go to YouTube and just pick it up there. All of our videos over there. Yeah, let's see here. Who all's coming in? I'm seeing some messages come in, so let me get out here. You're right. Really enjoy. Oh, thank you, Debbie. Thank you very much. Let's see. Last night, 2 huge owls landed on your driveway. Sandy, really, boy, that's incredible. I'd love to have seen that. I see a lot of owls and owl videos and pictures on social media with some things that I follow, and they're just the most fascinating things I've ever seen in my life. I watched the video the other night, and it was hilarious. I love to watch funny cat videos. It's just one of my things. I always like to see cats getting in trouble. I know it's weird. But there was this monster owl. I mean, the owl was probably 2 foot tall. It was just huge. It was just huge. And that big old thing was bowed up, and it was on this cat, and this cat was trying to check it out and go, and that cat wasn't having anything at all about it. I mean, it wasn't having nothing to do with it. So the whole video was just nuts. Debbie would like to do a study of Romans. I'll be honest with you, Debbie. Romans is, well, my woodpecker is back. I just noticed my woodpecker. Romans is it's the pinnacle of Paul's writing. It is the most in-depth book of all of his documents. It is just filled with doctrines of the church. And so it is an elaborate, and I do mean a high-octane, elaborate book. And it would take months to break down the book of Romans. It is unbelievable. And if you ever get that chance, you want to do it. Read the book. Romans is one of those books you can only read about 3 or 4 verses at a time and go, I need to chew on that for a little bit, because Paul is locked in. And to understand why it's so deep, you need to go back and watch yesterday's message, because I kind of touched on that just a little bit. But phenomenal book. Now, this coming Sunday, again, we will not be beginning a series this coming week. It's July the 4th. Guys, holiday weekend. Do y'all have plans already? Everybody going out of town? What are you guys doing this weekend? We are going to have services. And so I need you to help me spread the word that Ridgewood is going to have church service. It's going to be church only at 10:30. We're going to open the coffee bar. Mary, if it's all right with you, let's open that dude around 9 o'clock. Okay, let's open the coffee bar at 9 o'clock Sunday, so you can come on in and just hang out and visit. The praise team and I will be practicing and having some fun there, and you can just relax and visit and fellowship and listen to us and our shenanigans that we do on stage, and man, we have some fun on Sunday mornings getting ready for worship. Let me just say that. And then the service will start at 10:30. So you are most welcome. And if your church, or if you know some friends or family that go to a different church and they are canceling their services, hey, you guys come on down to Ridgewood, down here in Forest City. We would love, thank you, Mary. 9 o'clock is good for me. Thank you. Come on down and hang out with us. Okay. We would love to have you be our guest for the day. All right. Just as like I said, that's only if your church is canceling. Okay. And if you don't have a place to go and you're not planning on going out of town, you are welcome to be our guest on July the 4th. We would love to have you. This week, our schedule, before I ever forget that, everything looks normal except for tomorrow night. Brother Larry and Pam are still in Spokane, Washington, visiting their family. Their youngest daughter and her family are missionary church planters in Spokane, and so they have spent the week there. They'll be flying back in on Wednesday, so we want to pray for safety for Larry and Pam as they fly back on Wednesday morning. But we will not be having our online Sunday school tomorrow night. All right. Other than that, we are good to go. We want to strongly encourage you to be on campus Wednesday night as we are diving now into the book of Philippians. We want you there. We want you to be a part of that hands-on Bible study. That incredible book that Paul wrote to the church at Philippi. Amazing, amazing book. Lots of great discussion, lots of conversation that is going on there in person. So please, please, please do your best to come on and be a part of that. That's Wednesday night. That'll start at 6:30. On Wednesday. Also, Miss Mary has got us a table set up in the sanctuary for anyone who now wants to start picking up extra school supplies. And going ahead and start bringing those so we can get ready to get those distributed to our schools this year. So if you will do that, we would love to have you to do that. If you'll pick up a couple boxes of colors or notebooks or pens or pencils, whatever the Lord lays on your heart and you want to grab. We do have lists available that Miss Mary had printed out, and they are available on the campus. And find out exactly what we need. And you can just bring all that you want to. We had a whole bunch that we took out last year, but it was really, really, really hurried right at the last minute, and we don't want to do that this year. So we're going to take the summer and just gather as we can. And if we find something, like I said, you find something on sale this week, something on sale next week, and that way we don't have to just rush around and get it all at once. Hey, we have got just a few more of these incredible Ridgewood mugs left. They're $5 a piece. And we would love to get them in your hands. If you have not gotten one, we'd love to do that. Like I said, they're $5. And if you have got one, then I want to encourage you to maybe pick up a couple more and give them away as an invitation to come to church. If you would do that, we would greatly appreciate that. We want to go ahead and dispose of all of this first order. And in that way, if we need more coming on up later in the summer, we will get another order in. But if you will help us out and let's get all of our coffee mugs sold, we would love to do that. Thursday, ladies' Bible study. That's at 1 o'clock on campus. Ladies are studying Jonah, that big old story about that big old fish and that big old man. And then there's a hot wind and there's a worm. And man, there's just all kinds of stuff in that book. If you've never studied Jonah, it is fascinating. Fascinating. One of my favorite books in the Old Testament. Absolutely fascinating. All right, guys, we're going to read our morning Bible verse. We're still talking about, we got 3 days left for our June Bible verse list. And it is about facing my fears. Facing my fears. Today we're in Psalm chapter 91, and I'm just going to be honest with you. They picked a verse, but I just can't read that one verse. I've got to read more because it is just that incredible. And so we're talking about facing our fears. You got to remember, this is David writing this. And so we've looked hard at the story of David. We're going to continue looking hard at the story of David. So I want to just start at verse 1 in chapter 91 in the book of Psalms. David writes this. And just listen to the heart of David, okay? He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler, or what that is the one who catches you in a trap. He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and your buckler, or that is your smaller shield. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Man, oh man, what a powerful passage of Scripture this morning as we are looking at Facing My Fears. Again, coming out of the heart of King David. Now, Thursday, our new Bible list starts, and we've had those out now for a week on campus, and it is going to be holding unto God's promise. That's our new focus starting on Thursday for a Bible reading plan. Holding unto God's promise. Looking so forward to sharing that with you beginning on Thursday. Also, you can pick those up Wednesday night if you come on campus for our Bible study. We've also got our daily devotions. The Journey for ladies, Stand Firm for guys are available for you also on campus. And we've still got a few Sunday school books left if you would like to go ahead and do that and get started in our Sunday school classes on Sunday morning. Or if you are unable, then you can join us right here on Tuesday night starting back next week with Dr. Jones in our online Sunday school class. Let's see here. I pray verses 10 and 11 for my son every day. Absolutely. Absolutely, Debbie. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely. All right, guys, I think as I'm racking my brain, and there's not a whole lot up there to rack, let me tell you that. I think that is good. Had a great service yesterday morning. We want to continue to remember our folks that are sick. We want to continue to remember Molly. We want to continue to remember, that's Margaret's daughter. We want to continue to remember Pam Darty. That is Dan and Beverly McGraw's daughter. And speaking of today is Beverly McGraw's birthday. So if you get a chance, reach out to Beverly and tell her happy birthday. We want to several folks. Brian, we want to continue to remember Brian that's here. We've got several that are on our list. Remember church camp that's going on. This is children's camp. Guys, church camp is powerful in the life of a child. And so we just want to pray that God would just show up and show out on the Tri-County campgrounds. All right. Will you do that with me? Will you do that? Okay, folks, it is time to head over to this brand new book, 2 Samuel. So go ahead and get your Bibles, turn on over. And let me go ahead and tell you now that this is an absolute direct continuation, okay? It's like there was never a break. In the original Hebrew text, 1 and 2 Samuel was actually only one book. Okay, it was written, so that's why you are just going to see it as a continuation. But in the English translations, it was broken apart into two separate units. And what they done, and I don't want to get into all of this, but it followed the pattern of what's called the Septuagint. And the Septuagint generally breaks big parts like that into two units. And that's exactly what it done here. So this is a direct continuation. If you remember what took place last Friday, then we're picking right back up. Okay. This is where we are. When we left last week, okay, let's just kind of touch base just a little bit. Okay. When we left, we know that Saul had been killed. We know that his 3 sons had been killed. We know exactly what horrific things that the Philistines did to the bodies. We also know that God had raised up some valiant men to go into the city and to take down the bodies and to give them a proper burial. And speaking of our friends in Spokane, good morning, guys. Good morning. So that is where we left off. When we ended, David did not know that Saul had been killed. All we know is that David knew that the Philistines were going to attack Saul and Israel. That's all we know. There's Johnny Fletcher. Good morning. That's all we know. Okay. Let me give you a little hint about this book. Okay. This book is all about David. Now, the 1 Samuel leaned to be more about Saul. This book is going to be all about David. The first 5 chapters, specifically chapters 2 through 5, okay, is going to be where he's going to be crowned king, okay, here just coming up. And this is going to be when he was over Judah. Now, this is at the time when the country of Israel is divided into 2 halves, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, okay? And so David is over Judah. The starting in chapter 6, I believe it is. In chapter 5. The first, chapters 1 through 4 is when he's over Judah. Starting in chapter 5 through the rest of the book, which is through chapter 24, is when the 2 kingdoms merge. Okay, and he is over the united monarchy of all of it. He is the king of Israel. And so just kind of as a heads up as to what's going to go on, but David's going to be crowned king, not today, but later on this week. I think it's this week. He's going to be crowned king. And then for the first 4 chapters, he's over Judah, and then everything else is going to grow on. Okay, we're about to go in depth into the life of David. Okay. The thing about this book, and I really want us to take notice on this, okay? There's something coming that is incredible, okay? The first of all is the book is going to end, okay? It's going to, the ending parts of this is when they are going to purchase, Israel is going to purchase, it's called the threshing floor of Araunah. The threshing floor of Araunah. Well, what is that? That is going to be a plot of ground that is going to be the site of that big Solomonic temple that's coming, okay? So the purchase of that property is coming toward the end of this book. But the thing that's here in this book in chapter 7, and we're a couple of weeks away from this, okay, is the Davidic covenant. The Davidic covenant. Now, I'm not going to say any more about it today, but if you want to do your homework, I want you to start looking up and researching the Davidic, that's D-A-V-I-D-I-C, the Davidic covenant. And it is in specific in chapter 7. And so you need to get into that because it is powerful stuff that is still affecting us today. And so I'm looking forward to getting in and talking about the Davidic covenant. Okay, y'all ready? Y'all got your coffee? Y'all good to go? All right. Remember, David doesn't know Saul is dead. And we're going to pick up the story. Remember I told you, David went this way, Saul went this way, and we looked at things in chapter 30. And then we looked at things with Saul in chapter 31. Okay, well, now we're coming back to where David is. Okay? Verse 1, chapter 1, 2 Samuel. Here we go. Now it came to pass after the death of after the death of Saul. I'm just going to start that whole thing all over again. My coffee didn't work. Let me try that again. Hold on. All right, that's better. Now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David had returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites. Remember, he went and he chased them down, killed them all, except that one group of younger guys that got off on the camels. Okay, and then he got the wives, got the children, got all the goodies, all the spoil, brought it all back, shared it with all the people, and then he divided it out among all those other cities. Y'all remember all that, okay? It came to pass after the death of Saul, when David had returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, and David had stayed 2 days in Ziklag. So now they are back in the city that had been burnt down. So it's almost like you get it in your mind that they're going to go there and they're going to try to rebuild that city. Because that's all they have. That's their home. They have no other place to go. See, they're not welcome in the king's palace. You know, we've already found that out. They can't go back to Israel because, again, they're under attack and he still doesn't know about Saul. So they're in Ziklag trying to put the pieces back together. On the third day. Isn't it amazing how throughout Scripture you hear this phrase? And on that third day. Whew, powerful verse, powerful verse. On the third day, behold, it happened that a man from Saul's camp. Oh, what do we got here? From Saul's camp, with his clothes torn and dust on his head. So it was when he came to David that he fell to the ground and he prostrated himself. In other words, this is a guy that's coming up out of nowhere. His clothes are torn. He has dust on his head. And obviously he's walking. And when he gets to David, he falls face first on the ground. He falls prostrate on the ground. Okay. We don't know what's going on at this point. Okay. What we know is that we have a guy that is showing up, appearing to be in a state of mourning. Because when you've got torn clothes, you've got the dirt on the head, these are traditional expressions of mourning, okay? And so you've got him appearing that way, and then he's reacting that way, okay? He comes in and he falls down prostrate to David. David says to him, obviously he knows David. Let's understand this. And David said to him, where have you come from? And so he said to him, I have escaped from the camp of Israel. Okay. That doesn't make any sense. I've escaped from the camp of Israel. So is he an Israelite? You would think. But he has escaped. Then David said to him, how did the matter go? In other words, I want to know now how that battle went, because I know that all of the Philistine army was about to crash Israel. How did the matter go? Please tell me. And he answered, the people have fled from the battle. Many of the people are fallen and dead. Well, that's a true statement. And if you remember, when Israel saw, you remember that there was the Jordan River was there, and when the people on the other side of the Jordan were seeing what was taking place on this side of the Jordan where the battle was, they even took off. And the Philistines come in and took over everything, even on the other side of the Jordan. Okay, I mean, it was a mess last week. Y'all remember that? The people have fled from the battle. Many of the people are fallen and dead. And Saul and Jonathan, his son, are dead also. Okay, that's a true statement. Nothing's wrong with that. Everything makes sense, right? Okay. What about the other two sons? You process that for just a minute. What about the other two? Never mentions them. All we know is that Saul and Jonathan are dead. Now, it could be that Jonathan's body was in close proximity to Saul's. We don't know that. Okay? We just don't know. But we've got a guy that has showed up out of nowhere, appearing to be in a state of mourning, coming to David, and he's telling David this story. So David said to the young man who told him, how do you know that Saul and Jonathan, his son, are dead? In other words, how do you know that? What is your proof of that? I want to know. Okay. I want to know. I would want to know too. Now let's get the story. Verse 6. Y'all ready for this? Then the young man who told him, as I happened by chance to be on Mount Gilboa. How do you happen by chance to be on Mount Gilboa when there is a battle raging? How do you just happened to be there. Now, we know Mount Gilboa was where it all took place. That was the camp of Israel. And we know that the Israelites fled so far back that they actually went into their camp at Gilboa. And that's when the whole thing came crashing down. And then it was then that was the group on the other side of the Jordan River that saw all this, and then they took off. So, okay, boy, I just happened by chance. And what do you say? I have escaped from the camp of Israel? Okay, already you've got contradictory statements. You with me on that? As I happened by chance to be on Mount Gilboa, there was Saul leaning on his spear. And indeed, the chariots and horsemen followed hard behind him. Okay. Does that make sense? Does that really make sense? He's leaning on his spear. Now, if I go back to 1 Samuel, we just looked at this last week. And I'm in chapter 31 and verse 4. When Saul had been hit hard by the arrows. And he was dying. I mean, he had just minutes to live, but he did not want to literally be alive when the Philistines got to him. So he asked his armor bearer to kill him. His armor bearer said no. Okay? Verse 4. But his armor bearer would not, for he was greatly afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell on it, not a spear. Okay? Big difference. Big difference. Okay? Another contradiction. Back now in 2 Samuel. Verse 6. The young man who said, I happened by chance to be on Mount Gilboa. There was Saul leaning on his spear, and indeed the chariots and horsemen followed after him. Now when he, talking about Saul, when he looked behind him, he saw me and called to me, and I answered, Here I am. And he said to me, Who are you? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. Okay, that's going to make me have to go for coffee. I'm an Amalekite. What in the world is going on here? David chased the Amalekites in chapter 30 and destroyed them, all except for those young ones that got away. Y'all remember that? And if we remember, it was the Amalekites that Saul was told back early on in 1 Samuel that he needed to destroy Amalek and all of the Amalekites, but he didn't, and that was the beginning of Saul's downfall. And so what is a Amalekite doing by chance at the camp of Israel on Mount Gilboa? Was he a mercenary soldier of Israel that came alongside them? Surely not. Okay. Was he pretending to be an Amalekite? You know, all of these questions are coming into play. The fact of reality is this guy's lying. I mean, this guy's straight up lying already. And we know that. We've been able to prove this in documentation. He said, I am an Amalekite. Verse 9. He said to me again. Now, this is Saul. He's telling the story to David that Saul said to me again, Please stand over me and kill me. For anguish has come upon me, or agony has come upon me, but my life still remains. So now he's telling David the story that I happened upon Saul, and he was still alive on his spear, and he wants me to kill him off. Verse 10. So I stood over him and killed him, because I was sure that he could not live after he had fallen. This ain't nothing but a straight up bold-faced lie. I go back to our text from last week, chapter 31 in 1 Samuel, verse 5. And when his armor bearer saw that Saul was dead, he also fell on his sword and died with him. We just covered that. So there is a fly in the ointment right here. Something's not right. Now let's just pause for just a minute. Let's just pretend. Can we pretend for a minute? Let's just pretend for just a minute that what this guy is telling David is indeed the truth. David doesn't know any different, okay? We do, but David did not. Because David had not been involved in that attack on Israel. He was out saving his wife and his kids and all of their goods and all of the men's wives and their children and trying to get everything recovered, okay? David did not know any of this. So he is literally having to take this man and his word at face value. This is where David's discernment is going to shine through, immaculately, all right? But let's just pretend that David bought this story and that what old boy is telling us is true. If he is indeed an Amalekite, and if he did indeed do to Saul and kill him as Saul asked him, then that means that Saul died at the hands of an Amalekite. Again, we're pretending, okay? So that means that Saul would have died at the hands of an Amalekite. Isn't that so ironic? Because it was the Amalekites that Saul was instructed by God to wipe off the face of the earth. And it turns out that an Amalekite would have been the one to finally do him in. And again, we're pretending. And so here's old boy. And he's before David telling him, I helped Saul get out of misery. So evidently Jonathan's dead because he doesn't mention Jonathan. All he knows is that he saw the body of Jonathan. And again, nothing about those other two sons. So now you've got a guy, I would imagine still on the ground, talking to David, still in a mourning appearance, telling David that he helped kill King Saul. Let's finish verse 10. This is the guy talking again. He says, and I took the crown that was on his head and the bracelet that was on his arm and have brought them here to my Lord. So now he's telling the story that he helped Saul die. And when he was dead, he took his crown and his bracelet and is bringing them to David. Got to have more coffee for that. What's wrong with this picture? Just think about it. What's wrong with this picture? What we have here is a scavenger. Now, this might indeed be an Amalekite. We don't know that. I would dare say that this is possibly one of those younger guys that escaped when David and his crew, went after all of the Amalekites. And this kid, or this younger man, if you will, happened through this incredible battle site. And if you remember, we're talking hundreds of men died. And the number could have been in the thousands. We just don't know. But we know there were hundreds of men slaughtered that day. And we also know that the Philistines went back and they plundered the bodies of the dead soldiers. We remember that because we said they went back in, they got all the armor and all of the basically all the things they could find, and they took them back. What we have is we've got a guy that most probably came back across that battle site, and he was looking to see what he could find. And lo and behold, somehow, some way, the Philistines left the crown and the bracelet, or they dropped it in all of their pillaging. Or he could have been a Philistine that happened to have been the one to have gotten the crown and the bracelet. Okay. And I'm just throwing out different scenarios. Okay. But we know that his story is full of holes. There's no way he killed the king. There's no possible way he killed the king. And so now then we can just imagine different scenarios as to how he came across. But he does indeed have King Saul's crown and his bracelet. Most probably he is coming to David thinking that David would give him a reward. Thinking that, okay, I'm helping you now become king because King Saul is dead. Here's your crown, king. This is the official crown. We do not know. Maybe he just wanted a reward. Maybe he wanted a special place in the king's court or in the king's army. Maybe he was hoping that David would be excited. I mean, can you almost see a smirk on this guy's face like, I'm bringing you the crown? Thinking that David would be excited that he no longer has to worry about Saul and that now he could go home. A lot of things are in the blender right now. There's a lot of things going on. But the fact of the matter is, this guy has just told David a bold-faced lie. Will David catch it? We'll see. Join me tomorrow as the story continues. Guys, I hope you have an incredible Monday. If you get out and about, enjoy this sunshine, because it is a pretty day out there. I mean, it is a gorgeous day, and I want you to enjoy every single solitary second of it. And it is going to be warm out there. It is definitely going to be warm, so dress appropriately. Maybe later on this afternoon, I'm going to try to sneak up to the Tri-County campgrounds and I want to pray over the kids and pray for Brother Kirk. Like I said, if my schedule allows, I'm going to sneak on up there and just do all of that. If you need me today, make sure you reach out. You can call me, you can message me, you can email me at ridgewoodpastor@gmail.com. And same thing with Gloria. You can call her, message her, or email her at secretary@ridgewoodbaptistar.org. You sure gave us a lot to think about. Amen. Amen. The story of David is absolutely fascinating. And when you begin to peel back the layers and you begin to see what's going on, guys, I'm telling you, it is unreal what you find. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this Monday. I am going to get out of here. First of all, I'm going to hit that switch and I'm going to turn this up. And that tells me that it is time for Jim Bob to go get another cup of coffee. It is study time for Jim Bob. I'm out of here, guys. I love y'all so much. If you see somebody, tell them about Jesus. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.